Something like this. Hit it.
The Roger Report live morning show, weekdays at 9 a.m.
Say y'all, I was on Roger's panel a few times and I couldn't take it. The heat. I got out the kitchen. It was hot. I was sweating. I had to get out.
He's Roger, and he's right.
Check this out.
We can live or die. You choose. I have spoken to you a lot of times in hatred and anger, and you have not heard me. Well, you had better hear me today. If you won't listen to me when I make an appeal for the Negroes because you have no concern for the Negroes, listen to me when I make an appeal for America. You claim you love America. Well, we love America. But you are driving us back and you are making a Samson out of us, and we are going to pull down the pillar. And then you think we have no right to ask for something? Is it too much to ask you to grant us human dignity? Should we be put down and shot to death for this request? If so, you can aim your guns. What the hell do you think we care about dying if you're going to deny us the right to live?
Good morning, folks, and welcome to another edition of the Roger Report Live, the best show on social media. If you are new to the channel, go ahead and take a moment out to hit that like button, because this is where you're going to find the best content on social media. And you don't have to worry about it, because you're going to have me right here to make sure that happens. And if you've already been coming to the channel for a while, then go ahead and hit that like button, because you already know what time it is. And you know that this is where you're going to get the best content on social media. It's not a mystery to you at this point. You've seen other people do it. You've even seen some people do it well. But what you have not seen is anyone do it quite the way I do it. So make sure you hit that like button. And everyone, yes, everyone, take a moment out to share the content, y'all. There are so many people who need to get great content like this. And it's just a small thing you can do to help the world be a better place. And isn't that what we want at the end of the day? Don't we want the world to be a better place? Of course we do. So share the content out. Share it through your social media. Share it through word of mouth, or even text someone's phone. But do what you got to do to help spread the word. All right, folks, we are back. We are about to have another great and extremely interesting show. We are going to deal with this on a very real level. Y'all, we are dealing with, can a black man be productive in a white-dominated system? I'll say it again for you. Can a black man be productive in a white-dominated system? All right, now before we go too far into this, first of all, I want to say shout out to all the people who watch on a regular basis, because y'all giving me views. That helps out a great deal, and I appreciate each and every one of you for it. Thank you very much. Shout out to all the people who leave comments after the stream, because that helps with the algorithm. It's always a great time to do this stuff. Shout out to all the people who hype me up every chance they get. I know you can only do it but so much, so say something for me. Say something for me. It's a great investment. Shout out to the people who do that. And shout out to everybody who hits that like button. One of the main drivers, y'all. One of the main drivers. So shout out to each and every one of y'all. Of course, on a channel like mine, it would always be very much needed, y'all. is going to always be very much needed. And I appreciate each and every one of y'all for this. And shout out to the people who go above and beyond the call of duty and become financial contributors here at the Roger Report Live. And I want to give a special thanks out to 414 Money. Okay. Shout out to 414 Money. He, of course, is the sponsor of today's stream. And, if you don't know, now you know this stream was purchased by him. Okay. This particular stream was purchased by him. And I want to thank him. If you want to purchase a stream, of course, you can as well. But shout out to 414 Money. He purchased this particular stream. Shout out to you, brother. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Yeah. Now, of course, I left a couple links in the description so y'all can see certain things out of people's mouths themselves. And you actually heard from a actual living legend. Okay. Mr. Robert Smith, y'all. Now, y'all understand, this ain't just anybody talking. This is Robert Smith. As you can see right on your screen, at the time of this picture being taken, he was worth an estimated $10.8 billion. That ain't nothing to play with. That ain't nothing to play with. Matter of fact, though, before we go too far into this, I didn't do this, y'all. And how could I forget? Shout out to the people who checked in right at the beginning to let us know that they were in the building. But y'all know how I go around here. There can only be one. So shout out to the Highlander of today's stream. My main man, Red Pill Sleeper said, is in the building. Shout out to you, my brother. Shout out to you. Glad to have you. Glad to have you. Thank you for being here. Shout out to my main man, Trail Bentley, coming in right behind him, representing as he always does. Hashtag long live habitual line steppers. Hashtag Negroes in the wilderness. Hashtag dignity over vagina. Hashtag Al Gore's baby, my personal favorite. Hashtag Hail Hydra. Shout out to you, brother. Shout out to you. We have, I hope I'm pronouncing it at least close to correct. Okay. Palethia Morgan. Shout out to you, my brother. Shout out to you. Glad to have you here. Glad to have you here in the building. We got my main man, Floyd Thompson, representing. Glad to see you, brother. Yay, yay. We got the Great Black Reset in the house. Shout out to you. Shout out to you. Good to have you here. Good to have you here. We also have the one, the only. Bronk is in the Glad to have you, brother. Glad to have you. We got Q4828 in the building as well. Great to see you. Great to see you. All right. Glad to have you here. Mr. GQ Smooth is also in the building. Shout out to Bucket, who's sitting at the cool table. Glad to have you, brother. Glad to have you. Afro Merchant is also checking in. Man, it's going to be a great show, and we about to get into it, y'all. We about to get into it. And shout out to Q. He said, what's good, Mr. Roger? Shout out to you. I still think you would make a fantastic lawyer, sir. Well, I appreciate you saying that. I appreciate you saying that. And I ain't gonna lie to you. If I felt that was the direction for me to go in, I think I would make a fantastic one too. I really do believe that. So thank you. I mean, I really appreciate you saying that. You know, I think I can hack it. I think I can hack it. I don't want to sound arrogant, but I think I can hack it. Okay. But I'm going to say my life at this particular point is moving in a different direction. But you never know. You never know. Okay. Now, getting into it. And shout out to Ija Bay. I see you checking in. Great to have you, brother. Great to have you. Y'all, shout out to 414 Money. He says, can a black man be productive in a white-dominated system? Now, let's think about this, y'all. If you just look at it from face value and not really think about what's being asked. Okay, the answer is yeah, a guy can do it. Yeah. Can a black man be productive in a white-dominated system? Yeah, you can say that. You can say that. But how productive can he be? Now, I wanted y'all to hear from the billionaire, his perspective. Now, that clip said seven, I think it was 7 years ago from that particular clip. but he had already become a billionaire at that particular time. Okay. He faced it. And I know there's some black people who want to argue that black people do not face discrimination. All right, I hear you. I hear you. You know, you might be the personal guy with no legs yourself who didn't face any, and that's great for you. But to pretend that just because you didn't face it, no one else did, is that's kind of an insane thought. Okay. Now, shout out to all my people who live outside of America. And, you know, I know there's some places where you wouldn't necessarily have to deal with any form of racism at all. And then there are places where you would have to deal with a different form of racism. Okay. But shout out to all my people listening out from outside of America, because I do love and appreciate each and every one of you as well. And yeah, so at face value, you could just say, yeah, and that's it. But no, the thing is, how productive can you be as a black man? Now, shout out to the living legend, Robert Smith. Okay, and it's extremely hard to be a living legend over here at the Roger Report Live, because there's only one per year, y'all. We only giving it to one per year. And he's one of them. All right. And, you know, Byron Allen, I should say, Byron Allen. Byron Scott, basketball player. Well, former basketball player, former coach. Byron Allen, you know, he's talking. He's making moves, and he's been making moves for a good while. But on a particular move he make, people say, well, now, we don't mind him giving the piece, but we can't give him too much now. We can't give him too much. Now that nigga talking about controlling stuff, that's a little too far. That's a little too far. It's cool if you just want to get a little taste. But you want to start telling people what to do? You want to make decisions? You want to have an impact? Whoa, now, we just want you here so we can use your money. We don't need you here making decisions. And that's a very real thing in a lot of situations as it goes down in America. So can a black man be productive in America? Absolutely. But the real thing is, how productive can you be? You know, I consider myself a productive black man here in America. But see, I'm on social media. I have been to multiple social medias, and I have been kicked off multiple social medias. Okay. Why? Hey, because I do shows like this. Okay, I do shows like this. We look at real things. We make real examinations. We try to help people get to real conclusions. And we try to encourage people to critically think. Because if we present something to you and you think we're wrong, that's cool. That's cool. But I do believe if you critically think about anything that's presented here, you may change your mind about what's going on. Now, I ain't saying that's going to be guaranteed. There's some people, you know, you strong-willed and you just want to believe what you want to believe. But we try to keep away the false narratives here so people can get into some real stuff. And y'all, I said next week we probably going to end up on a different channel. Now, does that mean I ain't trying to quote unquote make it happen? No, it doesn't mean that. It just means, you know, I've run into problems again. So as an example of a productive man, now I'm gonna tell y'all what's going on behind the scenes. Okay, again, you ain't got to say nothing about it. I don't need y'all preaching on it. I don't need y'all spreading stuff around. But what's going on? Yo, the system has claimed that somebody told them I'm using far too many. I'm using content of other people as if it's my own. Okay, I guess I'm notorious for it or something. Y'all see all that content I use? Wink, wink. That's sarcasm for the people that don't know. So they say, hey, we need you. Well, we just want to inform you, because you use all this content from these other folk and you present it as your own, we're going to demonetize your channel. Okay. Okay. You're going to demonetize the channel. All right. Now they say if you disagree and you think somehow we came to the wrong conclusion, We're going to give you the June 5th to respond. It told me to make a video. Okay. Now, I don't know what everybody knows about what goes on behind the scenes, but I got to put it, I upload it. It's unlisted, so the public ain't going to see it. Make the video. Then send it through this particular system here. And we'll review what you got to say if you keep it under 5 minutes and do these certain little things in it. So what I do, I just make the video. I understand I got to play the game. I understand I got to play the game. So I make the video and I try to upload it. And of course, they got the system where I can't upload it. They tell me to upload it through this particular way, but it will not take the upload. Now, has that happened to other people? I can't tell you that. If it happened to me, I'm pretty sure it happened to somebody else. But I done told y'all, I've already accepted I'm on somebody's list, and I accepted that a long time ago. Long time ago. If this is my first time dealing with my channel getting treated in a way that doesn't really happen to other people, no, this ain't the first time. Is it going to be the last time? I'm going to say what I said last time. I hope. But we going through it again. Now, again, y'all, I don't need y'all spreading all that around because now you just be making more trouble for me. Okay? But I am a black man. I am in America. I'm doing what I can to be productive. And I got people that I've personally done nothing to doing stuff to slow me down. All right? It is what it is. Now, do I sit here and say just because I've been a victim of something that I just stop making moves? No, y'all see, anybody who's been around me for a good period of time or been noticing my channels for a good period of time, I'm like 7.5 years in. Okay. It's basically about a channel a year nowadays, y'all. It's basically about a channel a year. I ain't gonna say it's exactly that. But it's about a channel a year. Every year I got to put up a new one, okay? Just about every year. Well, that's been in the past. I'm a look for better things in the future, but it is what it is, okay? Does that make other channels greater than mine? No, they just hide it from people. That's all it is. We don't want people to get a hold of him. He a little too strong, a little too powerful. That's how I take it, okay? They think I'm a little too strong, a little too powerful. They want to keep stuff down. It is what it is. I ain't tripping about it. Okay, I ain't tripping about it. Hey, Robert Smith, he said he gonna pay off the brother's student loans and then started extending it to family members as far as their parents are concerned, and he got out of it, okay? So can you be productive? Well, the answer is always gonna be yes. As a black man, you can be productive. It's just at what cost? That's all. That's the thing. At what cost? Now, there's a lot of brothers who made a lot of good money. Shout out to another living legend over here at the Roger Report Live, Michael Jordan himself, who's also become a billionaire. All right. Now, Michael Jordan himself is not really messed with it as much, but you don't really hear Michael Jordan say too much from a political standpoint. And I don't blame him. He's careful with his words. He's careful about not taking stances about a particular thing. And I'm not saying anybody has to publicly take a stance about something. But if you do publicly take a stance about different things, certain things will happen. That's how the game goes. Certain things gonna happen. All right. You had some gentlemen pushing a Black Lives Matter movement. No, not the organization. They used the Black Lives Matter name because all they wanted to do was damage the Black Lives Matter organization. Now, the men who are actually fighting for black men to progress, those men start coming up dead. And what did people hear about? An organization funded by white dollars that put, 3 lesbian women at the front of it to act like it was something to do with black people. And what did the Black Lives Matter organization really stand for? All they did was use the blood, lives, and memories of black men to achieve progress straight. They did it for straight black men. They use their blood, lives, and memories to advance anyone other than a straight black man. See, it's a huge difference between the Black Lives Matter movement versus the Black Lives Matter organization. And the organization, there was some corruption, going on, throughout that organization. But hey, it was an organization, funded by a white guy. Of course, there was going to be some corruption. Surprise, surprise. Well, see, Black Lives Matter movement, they making progress. Kill them niggas. Who was them? Kill them niggas. Okay. Now, shout out to Paletti and Morgan. He said MJ plays the game. No, I'm going to say this. No, MJ just is quiet. MJ helps a lot of people. He's just quiet about it. That's the thing, and I'm extremely proud of the man, especially with all the stuff that he's doing and putting up medical centers in North Carolina. I mean, that's fantastic. That is fantastic. The man has used his wealth to literally build medical facilities so black people can get better medical care. Now, that's fantastic. He's just quiet about it. Okay? That's been about the loudest thing he's done that people kind of hear about. But everything else he does is pretty quiet. Not that was a huge, big announcement. He does stuff, but he just does it quietly. So this is the thing, y'all. Can a black man be productive in a white-dominated system? You can. But the thing is, how productive do you want to be? How big do you want to get? How many lives do you want to touch? Do you want to live the life you want to live, or do you want to live the life that is prescribed for you to live? Because there will be money there if you are willing to turn your back on black folks. Money will be there. If you're talented and you're willing to turn your back on your people, there will be some money there for you. Are you willing to turn your back? That's the question. Are you willing to turn your back? Some of y'all probably can live with it. Person like myself, not too comfortable doing that. Okay. So yeah, I have to deal with other challenges because I'm not going to do that. But that's okay. It is what it is. Shout out to my main man, Bronk. I appreciate your super chat. But let me say this, okay? I want to give a shout out real quick to all right, sorry about that, y'all. I got kicked out the stream. Stuff happens sometimes. But I was trying to say, shout out to SOS, the interpreter. He actually sent $5 in, but I didn't see it right away. Didn't see it till the next day. And I wanted to say thank him for the $5 cash app that he sent in. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you. For whatever reason, I couldn't see it, when you sent it in. But I want to make sure I say something about it now. Okay. So shout out to you, brother. Thank you very much for the cash app. And shout out to Bronk with a super chat. And thank you for helping me get off to the good start, my brother. He says, black men can go as far in this country as the ceiling of white supremacy allows us to go. We tend to figure things out, though. Okay. Now I'm going to say shout out to you for that, brother. Shout out to you. And I'm going to say, yeah, for the most part, that's what we're going to do. For the most part, that is how it's going to go. I do think we can get above. It's just not a bunch of us going to get past that, because a lot of us, we will at some point decide that due to white supremacist influence that we can only get to a certain level. And I think we slow down sometimes. But I think we can get anywhere. Now, are we going to do it in mass? No, not necessarily in mass without a fight. But we can get as far as we want to, as long as we're willing to keep fighting. You will have to fight to get far. It's that simple at the end of the day. You definitely going to have to fight to get far. All right? I've been fighting on these social media ways for a long time. And they put up a good fight, y'all. They do put up a good fight. So I'm definitely rocking with what you're saying, Bron. But I just don't want us to ever think in a limited way. Keep the fight going and see how far you really can get. Shout out to Afro Merchant. He says, time to update my Star subscription and subscribe to BuzzFeed. Hashtag support Black men media. Hashtag long live Negroes in the wilderness. Hashtag long live the habitual line steppers. Shout out to you, Afro Merchant. Shout out to you. That's a great idea. You understand the impact. You understand the impact. And see, yes, I can look at that stuff in a much different way. Now that I know we got a brother like Byron Allen, he back there fighting for us. And a lot of people don't really even get that. Byron Allen been fighting for black folks for a long time, but we don't get it. And some people got caught up because, if my memory is correct, I think he has a white wife. And so black people who don't really understand anything about race, they think because he got a white wife that he ain't pro-black. No, see, you can be a man and be pro-black because the man is the leader of the relationship. Now, if you're a woman with a white man and you believe you pro-black, you might well go sit down somewhere. You might well go sit down somewhere because you have to do according to what your husband wants. It's just that simple at the end of the day. Okay, it's that simple. Now, shout out to Debonair, brother. I'm going to see what he's saying here. He says, respectfully, Roger, black men need to retire that tone. Coming out saying we can only get as far as the pen man allows us. That's a broken mentality. Well, I mean, I did say something about that myself, but I do believe that's the thought process of the average person. But I think we do need to go beyond that, and people need to accept that there will be a fight beyond anything that's comfortable for them. So it's not about us getting to a place. So, because I'm not going to say it's a broken mentality, because when you see the world that you see, you start picking up how the world works. The question is, how far are we willing to fight? And to think that other people want to take that fight on, you know, I'm going to say it's not up to me to decide how much fighting another man wants to go. All right? I'm going to say that. It ain't up to me to tell another man how far he wants to go. The thing is, if you're going to get into it, just understand there will be a fight. The bigger you get, the bigger the fight will get. It's that simple. The bigger you get, the bigger your fight will get. And the thing is, if you truly want to be pro-black, they will always have something for you. Because if a law is not in place to hurt you, they'll bring it into fruition. I think that's a real thing. Now, as black men, we just do stuff in spite of the things they throw out in front of us. But we can't act like there's not going to be people throwing out stuff in front of us. So a lot of times folks are arguing about the end of it all. When I don't believe it's necessary. No, just accept there's going to be a fight. That's all. How far will you make it? You don't know. That's it. You don't actually know. The only way to find out is to have the fight. You know? That's just the way the world works. Do you believe you can whoop this guy? Maybe, maybe not. You don't truly know until you whoop him. Or at least try to. So, you know, can a black man be successful? Okay, can you be productive in a white dominated system? Yeah, you can. It just come at a cost. And I'm not going to act like everybody's willing to pay that cost. Now, some of us are willing to pay more of a cost than others. If you get too big, they will kill you. That's part of the program too. You willing to die behind what you're doing? Because this is the thing. If you leave stuff alone from a public perspective where you're not really doing too much, they ain't gonna do a whole lot to you. They're gonna do something because you still a nigga at the end of the day. They're not gonna ever see you past being a nigga. And I understand that there's people who think I shouldn't even say that, but no, I think there needs to be clear reminders of how you are seen in the world. The thing is, are you gonna let somebody else's sight of you determine who you are? That's the real thing. You know. See, Robert Smith, he keeps going anyway. He knows how he's seen. He know the people think he just a nigga. He just keep going. All right. He's had his bumps and bruises. He just keeps going. All right. So rather than think about whether somebody's mentality is defeated or not, I think the better thing to think about is how much is anybody willing to fight? Because the problems are going to be there. All right. The problems are going to be there. You're going to have to deal with life problems as it is. You're going to have to deal with market problems as it is. You know, you're going to have to deal with all types of problems that happen in life. Well, I'm going to tell y'all what a rich guy told me. I'm going to tell you what a rich guy told me. We all going to have problems. Okay? We all going to have problems. There's nowhere in the world you're going to live a life, grow up, become an adult, you know, and not have problems. Problems are going to come. Now, the question is, do you want rich people problems or poor people problems? That's it. That's what the true question is. Do you want rich people problems or do you want poor people's problems? And as a black man, you're going to get problems. Now, do you want your problems as a black man to be rich black men problems or do you want them to be poor black men's problems? So when the question is asked, can a black man be productive? I would say yes. But now when you start talking about levels of production, now we got to get into the weeds a little bit. Okay, we get into the thick of it. I say we starting to get into the thick of it. Because what are you willing to do to get that extra level of success? For some people, that ain't much. Okay, let's be realistic. It's a lot of men raised by their mamas. They don't want to fight that fight. Their mama been telling them their whole life not to fight that fight. I mean, even on the slavery plantation, they would try to tamper black boys down so they would never challenge master. Whoever master was, you didn't want your boy to challenge master because that means master gonna hurt your boy. Now, in her mind, she's doing a good thing. In reality, she helping us stay in slavery. You know, might have got free long time ago if it wasn't for the black mother. Now, I'm not saying that to accuse the black mother. Well, I'm saying that that's a reality that we had to deal with. Okay. Sometimes people have great intentions, but it's not going to necessarily to give you what you really want to have. Because at the end of the day, she didn't want to put her own personal child's life at risk. I get that. See, black mothers used to love us. They did, y'all. I know it's tough for some of y'all to believe that black women used to actually love their children, but they did actually used to love us. They did. Okay. Even if it didn't lead to the best decision, I'm going to try to tamper my sons down so they won't challenge master because I don't want master to kill them. Now, that ain't what's going on today. Today, they are trying to tamper their sons down because they don't want you to beat the white man. They love white supremacy and they don't want you changing anything. That's it. That's what it comes down to. They don't want you changing anything. They like the sister they got. and they don't want you challenging that system. They know you ain't gonna quote unquote just get killed nowadays. You know, I'm not saying any black man won't be killed, but it ain't an instant thing where you didn't piss Master off and he finna come kill you tonight. That ain't happening no more. But why do they want to tamper you down as a black boy who's gonna eventually be a black man? Because they don't want you getting in that white man's position. Black women love white men being on top. And I just think that's something black men ain't really accepted. I'm going to keep on saying it until we understand it as a unit for real. But black women love white men being on top. You know? Now, as a black man, that's going to be part of your battle too. You know, it's going to be part of your battle. If you want something, are you willing to get more than what people believe your fair share should be? Because you can have anything you want, per se. But other people won't necessarily believe you should have what you may want. I mean, if you look at Robert F. Smith, y'all, and it says net worth $10.8 billion. Y'all know it's a lot of white folks who be mad they found out it's a nigga running around here with $10.8 billion. They gonna look at themselves and say, how that nigga got $10.8 billion? You know, and I ain't gonna say they just dead broke. I mean, some of them are gonna be dead broke. But there'll be a guy who he might have a $400,000 house. He might have a couple of $80,000 automobiles in the driveway. He might live in a decent neighborhood, go to a decent school, where his kids go to a decent school. But if he had to come to terms with this, a nigga out here with $10.8 billion, he'd be ready to kill somebody. Not necessarily because he hate niggas. He just grew up in a country that told him he's supposed to be better than niggas in general. Now, you understand, we're going to let some of you niggas play some sports and get some money. So a person like Michael Jordan, he'll let that slide. That's white supremacy approved money. But let him find out it's a guy named Robert Smith running around who ain't never been in the NBA, who ain't never been in the NFL, who ain't never been in the MLB, and he worth $10 billion. That's something to get mad about. Because he's supposed to be better than a regular nigga. See, a lot of white folks have been trained you're going to have irregular niggas. The irregular niggas get on TV. The irregular niggas throw concerts. The irregular niggas gonna become celebrities. But a regular nigga, they not supposed to outdo regular white folk. And see, Robert Smith will fall into that regular nigga category to them. Now, I understand y'all may say, well, the dude's a billionaire. You can't just say he a regular. No. Through the eyes of white supremacy, which people who don't even consider themselves racist they still grew up in a country that produces white supremacists. If they knew a regular black man is worth $10.8 billion, that's a real issue. And a lot of them try to stop us in a lot of ways, y'all. See, we may not think about it as much, but regular people try to make you pay this extra black tax because it's baked into the cake. See, this is the thing, y'all. I'm pretty sure everybody else know about it. There's a thing called a boot. All right, you get some tickets on the car. Yo, they'll send a vehicle through your neighborhood. The vehicle starts booting the cars. This person ain't paid off their tickets. This person ain't paid off their tickets, and they just find random cars to boot of people who haven't paid off their tickets. And we don't think about it from a racist perspective, but when you really look at it, in a lot of cities, where they have this boot program, what do? They go to the urban areas a little bit more often. Now, that does not mean that white folks is paying their tickets. No, they just happen to go to urban areas, as they say, more often. They ain't gonna say it's the black area. They ain't gonna say we go into the niggas neighborhood. They gonna say we go in the urban areas. Okay. Now, it's plenty of white folk who don't even believe in paying tickets. Okay. I done seen very expensive cars get a boot. I've been amazed at it to a certain degree. But I've heard white people talk, they don't even believe in paying tickets. So it ain't like they ain't got no tickets. It ain't like the boot man can't go get them. The boot man just don't go to those areas at all, or not that much if they do. But see, since you a nigga, we'll come to your neighborhood and we gonna make you pay these extra taxes. See, we don't think about it like that. Why do they always want to make you pay an extra tax? Because at the end of the day, they want to keep you with less of your money, and they want to be able to invest more of their money. Now, you may not think about that as paying a black tax, but that's what it is. You know, you got different prices for items, same company, different location, therefore you get a different price, even though it's the same product. This over here, this loaf of bread, I don't know what a loaf of bread would cost, but let's say you get a loaf of bread in this white area, it's $1.39. You get a loaf of bread in the black area, that same loaf of bread, $2. Now, I'm pretty sure that it'll be much more expensive than that. I'm just saying numbers as an example. You know, do I understand how much a loaf of bread actually costs? No, I ain't bought a loaf of bread. I don't know how long. I can't tell you the last time I bought a loaf of bread. Okay. The bread's cool. I just eat less of it nowadays. That's all. Just eat a lot less bread than I used to. You know? So the thing is, yes, you can be productive in a system that's dominated by white people. Now, how productive do you want to be? And how big of costs are you willing to pay? Because you live in a country where everyone is going to get an understanding. The longer you hear, the more of an understanding you're going to get. White people are supposed to come out on top. I'm not saying they have the merit to come out on top, but that's what this country is about. It's about them coming out on top. And that ain't changed. Now, people will say, well, you know, things are better. They still have it where it's designed for white people to come out on top. You know, sending in a resume with the wrong kind of name on it. Yeah, you start running into problems. Okay. You know, now you may you may laugh because of, you know, Disney characters or something like that, but let your son put Mufasa on his resume. Okay. You don't even have to have a quote unquote black sounding last name. Let him put a Mufasa Smith on his resume. What's gonna happen? Now we ain't looking at that. We don't care where he came from. We don't care about his education. We don't care about none of that. His name is Mufasa Smith. He out of here, man. Throw that in the trash. Now, I'm not saying that's right. I'm just saying that's something that happens. Okay? I am not saying that's right. I'm just saying that is something that happens. Okay? I've talked with real people that do real hires, and they tell me real things on how they eliminate stuff. Okay? Mufasa Smith ain't got a shot. I don't care what school you sent him to. I don't care what he got his degree in. Mufasa Smith ain't got a shot. All right? He ain't got a shot. It is what it is. Now, there's some people who will say, hey, well, since I couldn't get a shot working for somebody, let me start my own and then they end up in a better position anyway, which is fine because as black men, you're going to have to make a way out of no way sometime. That's just how the game go. You got to make a way out of no way. So Mufasa Smith can't work for white people. But what Mufasa Smith can do is own the company. Now, Mufasa Smith may not want to advertise that he's the owner, because that's something black men still do to this day. Not all of them, but there's plenty of black men who are not quick to put their name on their companies because they understand if white folks start figuring out, a nigga on this, they won't come back. That's the reality. I ain't saying it's right. I'm just saying that's what it is. Okay? Shout out to Palatio, and I hope I'm saying that right, Morgan. He says, I got a whole degree, and I started my own business. You got to make gold out of dirt. See, and that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. See, sometimes it backfires because, they trying to hold us out. But see, we just think we got to get it done another way. We got to get it done another way. We don't just stop and say, hey, I ain't going to get it done. No, it's just I got to get it done another way. Shout out to the Great Black Reset. He says, I'm not hiring Gloctavius either, Dr. Roger. Now, I'm pretty sure when these people name their children, they are not necessarily going out of their way to destroy their children's chances in the future. But a lot of folks just don't care. They just, I want to name my baby what I want to name my baby. That's all it is to it at the end of the day. All right. Now, there was a time that black people would go out their way to give their kids some quote unquote white sounding names just to give their kids a better shot. I ain't saying it's right. I'm just saying it's real. And sometimes that's what you got to do so your people can get a fair shake. You got to kind of go out your way a little bit. All right. You got to kind of go out your way. It may, and it's got to be hard for a man who has a name like that, and he may want to, name his son after himself. But if his name is, say, Malik El Shabazz, I want a junior. But if I send my child out into the world with the name Malik El Shabazz Jr., my son gonna run into some problems. Okay? I don't necessarily want my son to run into these problems. So I will sacrifice my own namesake to give my son a better chance. So we're just gonna call him Michael Thompson. Now you really want to name after yourself. But some folks, they get it. They understand, they've been through it, and they figure, hey, we got to do what we got to do. I want to name him after myself, but Malik El Shabazz is probably not going to go over well. So let's just name him Michael Thompson. Okay? Good generic name. Well, why Michael? Well, Michael's the most popular name in the country. That's why Michael. Okay? He sounds like all the other Michaels, at least on paper. Thompson, anybody can be named Thompson. Okay? Nothing particular about Michael Thompson. Now, I understand, y'all, there's people out there named Michael Thompson, I'm sure. Okay? A lot of folks out there named Michael Thompson when you think about it. Yeah. Matter of fact, if my memory's right, I think Klay Thompson daddy he might be Michael Thompson. Is Klay Thompson daddy Michael Thompson? But see, that's a good strong white name. Okay, sound regular. It sound extra regular. And shout out to the Great Black Reset. He said, yes, they are, Roger. Defiance via naming children. Well, I'm gonna say this. Sometimes it's about defiance. Sometimes it's not. Okay, sometimes I do believe that you're going to have people who want to, quote unquote, have some black expression through their child's name. But see, the child got to grow up with that. You as the individual, you ain't got to deal with it. Now, I'm not saying don't name your child Malik El Shabazz if that's what you truly want to do. Just understand, there's a cost to all those things. Okay? But hey, if it's going to inspire somebody to start their own business, hey, you know what? That's a good consolation prize. I'll say it like that. That's a good consolation prize. All right. Shout out to Afro Merchant. He got Michael Jordan in there. Well, I guess anybody could be named Jordan. That's true. And we know anybody can be named Michael. So, hey, it is what it is. It is what it is. But see, the thing is, once they find out you're black, there's things that go with it. So can a black man be productive? Yes. To me, the real question is, how productive can you be? How much are you willing to, quote unquote, play the game? Heck, I'm playing the game right now. What I say, y'all, I just get a new channel then. I guess I might have to start a new channel. That's called playing the game. Okay? That's what that is. It's playing the game. It is what it is. But see, I don't trip. I have an understanding if somebody else owns it, they can do what they want with it. And that's the reality of it all. So when I heard what Byron Allen was talking about, I was rocking with it. Because Byron Allen want to own stuff. And my thing is, at least if he own it, I got a shot. It's one thing to go out into the world looking for a job. And you got to concern yourself with how people won't give you a shot because you black. At least if I go to the black-owned place, there's a good chance I won't I won't get a chance at the job because I'm black. Sometimes that's got to be enough.
Today on
sometimes that has to be enough. And I know people may not see it that way, but that don't stop it from being real. Now, sometimes we have to deal with quote unquote internal racism. And I get that. And that's why I try to remind people, you got to understand, if you grew up in America, you was taught to be racist yourself. You were taught to be a white supremacist. Now, the quicker you figure that out, the quicker you can change. Now, I will say, like I always do, I think black men understand that a little bit quicker because of the effects of white supremacy toward us. We start having to pay that piper at a much different pace than any woman does because it's never aimed at the women. Now, does white supremacy affect women? It can, but it's really going to be about their proximity to black men. And a lot of black women don't want to deal with that proximity to black men, and they don't want it costing them something. Just is what it is. And you may say, well, it ain't going to cost them too much. Well, to them, that's everything. You think it ain't too much, but for them, that's everything. And black women, they cool with white supremacy. They just trying to get a higher place in white supremacy. But they do want it to exist. And I'm going to tell y'all this, because there's a lot of guys who don't believe that that's how it goes. Why do y'all think there's black women who are 30 years old and ain't never been married? Y'all think they ain't bought into white supremacy? You really believe it's a bunch of black women out here walking around 30 years old and above that have not bought into white supremacy? See, I ain't gonna say every single one of them has, because that's been a little presumptuous. Hey, there are men out there with no legs. For you to say every man out there got legs, that's been a little presumptuous. So it ain't all of them, but you think it ain't the vast majority of them? You think black women getting to 30 years old because they don't carry white supremacy in their hearts. You know, see, that's one of the main reasons I started talking about black women who are 30 years old and above. Okay? Because, see, if you can't get the man you want to marry you, you a loser. See, you get to your 30th birthday, you a loser. It is what it is. But a lot of black women are losers because they have so much white supremacy in them that black men can't take a chance on. Now, there's some brothers who will take a chance even when they shouldn't, but it is what it is. You know, you taking a chance no matter which one you get. And if you want to be successful, let's keep it real. Can black women help you be successful? In theory, they can. In theory, they can. You know, if you have a woman who's willing to actually be on your team, yes, in theory, she can be a great help to you. Will the average black woman try to help your team? Well, in reality, no. Not in America. And I understand people going to say, Roger, that's not true. Well, then, if it was true, how come so many of us ain't married to black women? If that ain't the truth, you tell me why we got this big, this big old group of black women who aren't married. And this is the thing. You can say, you can pretend it's black men's fault. But the reality of no one else married them either still has to be dealt with. That's simple. Ain't nobody else married. Tell a black man he ain't good enough. Okay, cool. I'm not good enough. What about all the other men? They ain't marry him neither. Well, you know, it's normal for people to like their own people. True, true. But there's enough leftovers out there, you know, that black men could, well, excuse me, white men, Asian men, Hispanic men, Indian men, or however you want to classify, they can go get them a black woman. But they ain't looking for it like that. They ain't looking for it. That ain't got nothing to do with black men. All right. So it's just a lot of people have had to come to a reality that black women ain't gonna serve them well. And unfortunately, black men ain't figured that out wholeheartedly. We, as a collective, we have still yet to figure out that black women will not serve us well. You know, some clues are there, which is why so many of them are unmarried. There are some clues there. But we still want to believe in them, like they really want to be on our team. You know? So now you picked the wrong woman. How productive can you be? Y'all, let's think about this, y'all. A woman can simply nag you to death. And I think that has literally happened to black men. When you think about how when men get married, they seem to live longer unless you black. Think about that, y'all. Married men live a little longer unless you black. What does that mean? More than likely, you got some woman who is literally nagging you to death. Literally nagging you to death. Now, does that mean you can't be productive? No, I'm not saying it means you can't be productive. But how productive can you be when the woman you marry is anti-black? Now, I know a lot of you may say, well, I mean, if she married a black man, how's she going to be anti-black? When in this country was there ever an idea that people can't attach themselves to black men to extract resources? When was that not a thing? Okay? That's what I would ask. When was that not a thing? When in America was it not a thing to attach yourself to a black man to extract resources from him? When was that not a thing? I guess slavery never happened. Huh? Jim Crow never happened. Okay, whatever. I don't know when that wasn't a thing. And if a black woman is a white supremacist, why wouldn't she participate in that thing when she feels it's convenient for her? Mm. See, when you think about real stuff and you answer real questions, you start to see the world a little differently. All right. Now, black men do what they got to do to be productive. We go through a lot of trouble to be productive. Because let's keep it real. Once you had your 18th birthday and you successfully gotten out of high school, a lot of battles will happen right at your next thing. Now, your next thing is what? Possibly the military, possibly a trade school or college, something to further your education, possibly getting a job, or possibly starting a business. You may face racism in any one of those things. Now, people can say, well, you're not going to face racism in college or trade school. Yeah, yes, you can. Yes, you can. It can be by the treatment of you as a person. It can be by applications. It can be about people pushing your name through or not pushing your name through on some particular thing. So you definitely can experience it. Some people say, what about the military? Well, the military trains people to be on the same side. Why does the military spend so much effort trying to train people that they're on the same side? Because when people go to the military, it's not the idea that they're on the same side. That ain't how it works. People come in there and they own their own particular side. And the military has to get them to try to be on the same side as people that they do not like. Okay? And who are the people that people usually don't like? Black men. It is what it is. That's usually who they talk about. You wouldn't have to really try to get people to be a team if it wasn't for the hatred of black men. But the military has programs literally to get other people to be comfortable being on the team of black men. Now, it's not said like that. What y'all think all that stuff that go down in basic training and beyond is about? It ain't. Y'all think all that money ain't spent because people hate niggas? All that time, effort, and energy is because people hate niggas. Now, I'm not saying it ain't parts of things in the military that you have to do because you got to get people on your one accord, how to follow commands and things like that. True, it's true. But a lot of the stuff that's done in there, even though they may not come out and advertise and say it, is because people hate niggas. And that's what's real. But it's not like I'm going to say, don't go to the military. It's still a good option. Okay, it's still a good option. Now, there's jobs also. I mean, I'm pretty sure you've heard about job discrimination at this particular point. And I'm going to kind of wound down real quick because I got a guest backstage who I'm going to bring up so he can say something. But even if you own a business, businesses face discrimination. And a lot of times the reason a business will face discrimination is because who the owner happens to be. Yeah, you start a business. Sometimes you want a loan, sometimes you want investors, but if it happens to be owned by a black man, people look at it in a totally different way. That's just the reality of it. But I'm gonna slow down because Tunnel Runner then came up. So Tunnel Runner, you got the mic, my brother. How you doing?
Doing good, sir. Doing good. Am I coming through clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know that's a very dangerous question. You know that, but yeah, we hear you.
Yeah. I know. But it's just you, so I can.
I was gonna say you asked it at the right time. You asked it at the right time.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I mean, I don't know. It might be something with just my just my eyes, but I see very productive black men married to married to white women or women of other colors. I mean that the man you have on the screen, he was married to a black woman, but then he married. It didn't work out, so he married a woman of another race. A basketball player you might know named Michael Jordan. He ended up with a Cuban chick. There's a guy that's in TV that's Marcus. I mean Allen something Allen. He's married to a white. Well, and there's a lot of successful, productive black men are married to women of other races, and seems like they get a little bit of support, a lot of support from the women of other colors. But it might just be my eyes. It might just be my eyes. Might be bad. I might need to get some glasses.
Hey, you know what? Your eyes might be fine. Your eyes might be working perfectly fine because I hear what you're saying. And yet, there's a lot of brothers who have become very successful, and they started out with a sister, and along the way, they get rid of the sister, and then they end up remarried to somebody who ain't a sister. Now, my thing is, a lot of people say that's bad. You know, black women will put their spin on it, but I just look at reality. The man's a very successful man. She's clearly uncomfortable with his success, so she wants a divorce, and therefore ends up getting a new woman. Now, he's already successful at that point. So if a black woman don't want you to be successful, why would you marry her and you already successful? It don't even make sense at the end of the day. I mean, people get mad, but my thing is you got to look at life for what it really is. Black women got uncomfortable because you became successful. So you can't just go start with success and then you're going to get a sister and everything going to work out. That don't even make sense. Now, at the end of the day, one thing I've noticed, you know, the more successful you are as a black man, the more black women gonna have a problem with you. So they have the same level of white supremacy that a lot of white folk do. Ain't really much of a difference. Shout out to For Your Life. Black women attached to you who don't like black men will cost. Now, that's a very real thing, y'all. You know, 40K, 60K, 100K, or your life. All right. Black women attached to you don't like black men will cost. This is a very real thing. And just sometimes you've already become so successful, everybody kind of know it. So, you know, when I look at a person like a Robert Smith, why would he get married to another black woman when people kind of know he got money at that particular point? You know, or shout out to Michael Jordan, you know, his, record breaking divorce at the time, but everybody know he's successful already. So getting married the second time, where was he gonna meet a black woman who's comfortable with him being successful that he could marry? The chance of that was next to none. So I get why they end up married to somebody else. And I support them, because I gotta be real about what I see. What black woman's gonna be comfortable with their level of success? The black women who was in the marriage while they were becoming successful said, we got to check up out of here. And they were there from the start. So to get a second marriage where a woman is comfortable with your success, it's a very hard thing to do. And when you become super successful, it just becomes super hard to find a black woman who's going to be comfortable with that. You see, you got a better shot at a good second marriage if you're not in the spotlight. But once you're in the spotlight, what sister really trying to mess with you? And use a nigga. See, now you a nigga with money. That's what she been avoiding the whole time.
And Roger, this is kind of funny, but I've seen brothers who are super successful and they marry a black woman and she wants him to spend all his money on frivolous things, which makes them not rich anymore or successful. It could be a tragic situation. Or get married, take his house, half his house, and the kids in child support, and puts that man back in a whole different situation.
Well, when it comes down to it, a lot of black men, once they get divorced, they end up going back home to their mama's house. That's crazy. You know. Now my father didn't do it. He went to a brother's house. But I remember my father, as a grown man, had to go to another man's house. Now, even though it's my uncle, so it's cool to a certain degree, but I'm pretty sure he didn't appreciate having to go live with his brother after he already got a house, got married, and was raising children. Now he got to go live with his brother. That's crazy work, if you ask me. Now most folks it's be more like your mama or whatever, but in his case it was a brother. At the end of the day, what grown man want to do all that after you done brought kids into the world? So I get it. It's hard for a brother to get a divorce and then end up with another black woman when you have certain levels of success. Now, if you're not that big, it's gonna be much easier to get that done. Now, and there's no guarantee that second marriage is gonna work out. But if you're not that big, it's far easier to get that done. You get somebody in the limelight like a Michael Jordan. Who was he supposed to marry that was black? When you think about that as a question, it's gonna be hard to come up with an answer. You on your second marriage now. What you gonna do, Mike? What you gonna do? How you come up with a sister who's gonna be ready for all that? That's gonna be a tough one. That's real talk. That's gonna be an extremely tough one. Now, shout out to Elder Blood. Elder Blood says the movie Hustle and Flow shows the hard truth. Who the real catalyst, supporter, loyalist, and the heroinist for the black man. Facts over, I guess, black women's fiction. Facts over black women's fiction. I mean, let's be real, y'all. When it comes down to it, black women try to push. We gonna be there when you ain't got it. No, they just like niggas who ain't got it. If you start to get it, you're going to have a problem. Let's be real about that. All right? It's a lot of black men who've been with women because they ain't got it. But if that man ever get the good sense to go get it, it becomes a problem. Now, people think that's something crazy going on. No. She got with him because he didn't have it. And when he tried to change who he is, he is putting her in an uncomfortable position. Now, we may not think about that as men because women are always trying to tell us, well, you need to go get it. You need to go get it. Now, if they really believe that, I mean, just do the math. If a woman really believes that she wants you to have it, then how come they go to get with men who don't got it? If she really wanted you to have it, how she end up with a man that don't got it? It's a lot of simple math we can make where we can see what the truth is. At the end of the day, black women, and I'm not talking about all of them, of course, it's just collectively. They just don't want you to have it. Okay? And a
Hey,
lot of
Roger,
guys
I'm sorry. I just wanted to say, it also they don't want you to. They want you. They're looking for not a husband-wife relationship, but a partnership. So if you have it, if you got that nice car, her car's supposed to be equally nice. There's some sisters who would not. In my situation, my car is 10 times nicer than my wife's wife, but she's happy with her car, and she's very, because I got it for her, and she enjoys it. She appreciates it. But there's some other women that need to have a car as equal to yours or not or above yours.
well, a non-black woman is far more used to the ideal of being with a successful man. So those type of issues don't really come up. But see, when you're talking about a black woman, that's a specific kind of person there. Okay. And because she see you as a nigga, she gotta have something better than you anyway. It's almost automatic. You a nigga, how can you drive around in a Cadillac and she in a Toyota? That don't make sense to her because you the nigga.
Exactly.
The nigga's supposed to be in the Toyota, not the Cadillac. That's crazy, you know. And the thing is, this is why it's such an issue when you look at, what I'm saying, what women truly want and versus what we as men are told. And if you are truly trying to become a more successful man, at the end of the day, black women don't really want you to be a more successful man. And black men, they have these issues because they're trying to become this more successful man that she actually don't want you to be. But she'll continue to tell you she wants you to be successful because at the end of the day, she want to say the right thing. She wants to have the right image. But when it comes down to it, if you don't got it and she get with you, she got with you because you don't got it. People can say whatever they want to say. And this is not people who are coming up together because like they high school sweethearts or something like that. Those are people walking the path together. They just happen to do it since high school. But women get with you because you have what you have. And that means you have a certain level of success, or they're going to look at you and say you have a certain lack of success. And that's why they got with you, because of your lack of success. So if you try to go get it, you're trying to put her in a position she never signed up for. A lot of black men just don't get that though. So what do a lot of women do to a black man that starts to become too successful? They're going to divorce him. And we as black men be trying to figure out what's wrong. Ain't nothing wrong. You just made a little too much money. You made a little too much progress. You bought a house in a neighborhood that's just a little too nice. You got some cars that was just a little too nice. So to keep you at a certain level, she got to get a divorce because she got to make you spend a bunch of money so you don't have it to live with. You don't have it to advance yourself. It's just the way the game goes because you're in a white dominated system. She's part of a white dominated system. And her mindset is you're not supposed to be that far. So let me take stuff from you so your net worth will come down. When you really think about black women, they have a mission to keep your net worth down. That's what they do. They want you to spend frivolously, which keeps your net worth down. They want to go to all the most expensive restaurants to keep your net worth down. They want you to buy clothes they ain't gonna even wear to keep your net worth down. If we actually think about our net worth and black women at the same time, that don't go well together usually. If we think about it. Now, I'm not saying your net worth won't come up if you get the right black woman. And it can. The question is, can you find the right black woman? You probably won't. That is the reality of it. You probably won't. So it's better to date a non-black woman or to go overseas somewhere so you can have a better chance. You already got white folks working against you. You already got Indian folks working against you, Hispanic folk working against you, and all that good stuff. And some of it's malice. Some of it ain't even malice. At the end of the day, there are people who are not black who want to win too. They can't get the same dollar from the same customer. So they're already competing against you anyway. Now that, again, y'all, this doesn't mean that black men can't truly be productive, but you got to learn to pick your poisons as a black man. If you really want it, you're going to have to figure out a way to come get it. Why basically every other group in the country is literally against you. Now,
And Roger,
I'm going to just say this. The only thing that's different about black women is they lie and say they're with you when they're not. See, other folks ain't saying they with black folks. And I get it. I don't even think they have a reason to do it. It don't even make sense to me. if they really out there doing it unless they trying to be married to a black man. So I do get that. Other folks ain't telling us they trying to be on our team. Some people who are allies will say, well, you know what? Everybody tries to fight the same fight, which is cool and all. But the black woman's telling you she on your team when she ain't even on your team. That's the one difference with them versus the other groups of people. But go ahead, brother.
Yeah, I was going to say the number one group in America right now, as we speak, are East Indians, and they are the number one group that are the most married too. So if you are the most single women, you are not being you will not help any kind of man be productive when the East Indians are beating the whites, the Spanish, everybody, because they are the most married group in the society. So it seems that in this society, being married is a great way to be productive.
Being married has advantages if the person you're with wants to see you as productive. And that's what I'm saying. A lot of black men don't get. Black women aren't trying to find a reputation of black men's productivity. They're trying to find a reputation where black men are bad. We got a woman in the chat doing it right now. Their thing is they want to say black men are bad. That is their goal. If your goal is to say black men are bad, you're not going to help that man be as productive. You're going to do things to slow his productivity down because that ain't the narrative that you want out there. It is what it is. Now, shout out to Elder Blood. Elder Blood seems to have a question here. He says, Roger, ask audience, do they agree with his last comment? Let's see what Elder Blood said. Hold on. Okay. He says black women's greatest fear is black power. Because true black power means no more bed wenching and obedience to white men, and she must fully commit and submit to black men. Now, audience, do y'all agree with that? I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure most of us will. I'm gonna say I can agree to that. Okay. Because their greatest fear is black power. I think the only real difference is why people would say they would be against black power. I think that'd be the real thing. People may think it's something different, but I definitely agree that they don't want to be involved with black power. That's just not what they want to do. Okay. And I got a couple other guests coming up, so I'm gonna go ahead and let them get the mic. But as an audience, what do y'all think? Black women's greatest fear is black power, according to Elder Blood. He said because true black power means no more bed wenching and obedience to white men, and she must fully commit and submit to black men. Do y'all believe that's a very real thing? Because I'm gonna have to go yes. Even though he put a lot of qualifiers on it, I still gotta go with yes. Because at the end of the day, they don't want black power. Their actions prove that to me on a daily basis. Even the young lady in the chat right now is saying stuff like that. She just came into the chat. I ain't gonna go back to the comment right now, but she was saying something like, "Yeah, you missed something. Black men be cheating on the women. They cannot accept you being a good black man. I don't care what you're talking about. Okay, it comes out on its own. You don't have to do nothing to trigger it. They just show up with it. But let me get these other two gentlemen in. So, Nut Milk, you got the flow first, and then we'll go to the Great Back Reset.
Shout out to you, Roger. Thank you. This is a very important topic. Shout out to Tunnel Runner and all the softer border niggas. Shout out to Peanut, aka Bronx. Shout out to Pookie Raw, aka Shark Sims, and a special shout out to the youngster, the young boy Diaper, aka Great Reset. We call him Diaper because he's like shitting everywhere. So that's what we call him, Diaper. So now, it's open statement, brother. Open statement. Can a black man be productive in a white-dominated system? Well, I mean, the productive is subjective. So It depends, right? Can you be individually productive? Absolutely. Look at Byron Allen. He was like, "Hey, call you up. Yo, I'm going to drop 20 million on that." That's big boy. That's big boy moves. Is he productive? Absolutely. He's part of the 0.1%. Nigga's a billionaire. Robert Smith, even though now he dating white, still productive black man. For those who consider him black because he got a non-black woman now. I don't know. Whatever you feeling, that's hey, not the topic today, but you know, he's worth a billionaire too. Paid the debt, everybody. So, but then paid the debt of Morehouse. But then after that, the IRS came knocking at his door. You know, you trying to free slaves, right? So it depends. If you're trying to free other people, absolutely not. If you freeing yourself, it's possible, right? So it's just a matter of what is productive to you. And I pass the mic on that.
I feel you. I feel you. Now, and let me say, real quick, shout out to I am Jermaine. He says, looks like, excuse me, looks like it because pro-black spaces are pro-black women and still shame men. I am Jermaine. You need to catch up with reality, brother. You can't have a pro-black space that is pro-black woman. To be pro-black, you must be pro-black man. Because men look out for themselves, their wives, and their children. If you're a pro-black woman, you're anti-family. I mean, think about the concept of family. If you're pro-black woman, you are pro-black. You're anti-family because you're trying to put a woman in a place as a leader when you should have a man that's a leader. And I'm not against a woman leading what you want to lead, but at the end of the day, since they don't have an inclination to take care of men, she needs to be by herself. It's that simple at the end of the day. Why be with somebody who don't want to take care of you? If success for them means I ain't taking care of them, what's the point in you being quote unquote successful? It's pointless at that point.
Well, black women and black people are different, right? Ice Cube showed us that.
Well, I ain't gonna say it's Ice Cube that showed us. It just showed up when Ice Cube was there. The women showed us.
Yeah.
But Great Black Reset, you got the flow, my brother.
Man, what's going on? What's going on? I was having a good
Roger,
day.
I can't hear him. Roger, I can't hear him.
I'm having a tough time too. Yeah. Is anybody here?
Yeah, this what we doing. This what we doing. Catching strays from I'm catching strays from Colombia, catching strays from China, and catching strays from Chicago. This is bull. This is what this is. That's all right. I understand Gold P these days. I do understand Gold P.
If my memory's right, I think you started that stuff. I think you started all that. If my memory's right.
Hey, listen, I didn't interrupt your whole hour of struggling. Let me get my 2 minutes in, sir. Let me get my 2 minutes. Follow your own rules.
Man, show been fired so far.
I don't think our success as black men is predicated on black women and what they're doing, unless you attach yourself to one while you're trying to achieve your success. I think you can achieve success outside of them, and if we're the leaders that we're saying that we are, if we're the leaders that we're claiming to be as productive black men, there should be no black woman that should have so much input on your success that it determines whether you fail or you succeed. You know, that should just be determined on you and the black men that you're working with out in the business sector or however you're doing it. However, the woman that you choose in your life is going to be the most expensive choice that you're ever going to make.
That's really bad. It's going in and out. Really. No, real talk. Is it going in and out?
I don't know. I got a pretty strong connection over here. I ain't got no weak signal.
Like
But
the chat is even complaining. But go ahead, go ahead.
what we doing? So,
Roger, man, Roger, you fucked it up. Roger, you fucked it up. Anyway, okay.
hey man, I paid my AL mobile today, man. I should be just fine. I'm just fine. but
I
but
took it
yeah, man.
down too quick. Took it down too quick.
Because you laughing, you were laughing, was giving it away.
Hey, I just think that as men, man, we just need to take more of the leadership role seriously, and we shouldn't wait have our success weigh so heavily with women. We should go out in the world and do what we got to do aside from women, and then we make our choices as to the women we're going to deal with after our success, i.e., Robert Smith. I'll let my blame
Right. Now I'm gonna say shout out to that, and I'm gonna say they do have an impact because there's an ugly thing that goes on to a decent little number of black men called divorce. And when you get divorced, yes, that's gonna have an impact. You know, like I said, my own father ended up, going to his brother's house. The man then he grown, I don't know what, got multiple children in the marriage, and he ended up, at his brother's house. Those type of things do actually have impact. Not saying it should be, but it is. And according to the information I looked up on it, most men end up back with their parents' house. And for a black man, if you did get married and you ended up back at your parents' house, for a lot of them, that means you end up back at your mama's house. That ain't gonna be the greatest situation for a brother who overcame his single mother to even get married in the first place. That's not gonna be a good situation. So there's a lot of elements that's gonna do things to stop him from being productive. And at the end of the day, like I said, y'all, the nagging alone, y'all, and I got a new appreciation for nagging, y'all, because now, I talk to people about what time I'm gonna show up here, what time I'm gonna show up there. You tell somebody, man, I be there somebody between, I'll just say 7 to 9 for an example. Okay, just an example. I tell you, I'm gonna be there between 7 and 9 o'clock. I get there right around those times. Okay, they'll call you at 7:30, ask you why. I got a new appreciation for brothers who married, who got to deal with stuff like that on a regular basis. Like you said, you're gonna do something, then they start bothering you and nagging you. Me, I just start cutting off phones on people, just don't answer calls and things like that. That's what I do. When I told you something, I told you something. You supposed to hear what I said. And once you tell me you understand what I told you, I ain't gonna keep telling you the same thing over and over again. So I got a new appreciation, or at least a reminded appreciation for all the married men out there who got to deal with their wife bothering them all the time. Because that's what it comes across to me. You know what I'm saying? You just bother me now. You trying to ask me a question I've already answered. You bothers. I wouldn't deal with it. But I'm not saying nothing to any man who is dealing with it. We got to pick our battles at the end of the day. But I know that's something. Lord knows, if I ever get married and some woman keep nagging me, she gonna have a problem. That's real talk. Because I ain't gonna deal with that too much.
Man, you're gonna be perfectly fine. We're gonna get you on the plane down there to Brazil, and you're gonna be just fine. So you're gonna be just fine.
She better not try nagging me, brother. I tell you that. I told you what I told you. Your ass ain't changed. If I don't call you, ain't nothing changed. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Floyd Tyler. He said, "What if all your parents are deceased before divorce?" Well, I mean, let's keep it real now. It's guys who get divorced that end up going to the homeless shelter. Let's be real about this. So there are a lot of women who try to interrupt your productivity. I'm never gonna say a man can't be productive, but the thing is, if you already have an entire society trying to slow your production down, and now if you get with a black woman, she's gonna have like the inside track on trying to slow you down. See, other folks they shooting in the dark to a certain degree. Your wife knows exactly what's going on with you for the most part. So she can do it better than other people. And when you got to go
Oh,
get another
I'm,
place to live, that is going to slow your production down.
well, I think you got people need to understand the climate in which we're dating and getting married in. I mean, women are getting on the internet and telling on themselves. They're telling you they're driving you into poverty. They're giving you all these unrealistic expectations, these fancy restaurants they want to eat at. They want you to, man, these women, you're dating them, you're barely knowing them, and they're talking about they want you to pay their rent. That is crazy. You want a man to be productive, to have his own stuff together. Then you want him to take care of your stuff so you can do what? It's just absolutely craziness. You should know better than to marry women like that in the first place. So if a man marries a woman like that, then hey, you get what you deserve.
Well, I'm gonna say this: there's no such thing as like that in our climate either, though. There is no such thing as like that because a woman can basically change her mind and do whatever she wants at any given time, and because she's in a society where everybody's against the man in the first place, and she knows that. Now I'm gonna say shout out to Queen of Detroit. She said, "Sigh, she's a woman. She's going to nag. Understand? I didn't say a woman can't nag. She just can't nag me. That's y'all can nag all the other people you want to. You better nag the kids. You better nag your sister, nag your mama, but you ain't gonna nag me. That's just what it is. If I said something, I said what I said. If I didn't call you, whatever I said didn't change. If I call you because something changed, okay. But if I ain't called you, that means ain't nothing changed. It is what it is. You know. So yeah, I'm not dealing with no nagging woman. That's me because I just don't want to. I ain't gonna come up with no good, enlightened response. No, I just don't want to. That's simple to me. And my thing is, again, you're a black man in a society where everybody's trained to be against you in the first place. Yo, now, can women slow your production down? Yes. Okay. Can men slow your production down? Absolutely. The fact that cops come after us more than anybody else, that's a way to slow your production down. It ain't just about a cop pulling you over. If they can give you a ticket so you can have less money to put on yourself and more money to put into the system, that's one thing. If they can take you into jail, even if it's just for a day or two, that's you losing out because you can't go produce money for yourself because they got you in jail. You end up paying some fine after the fact. That's just more money gone. If you run into a situation where now you got to include a lawyer, that's more money gone. None of this stuff is a coincidence, and it all works to slow black men's productivity down. And let alone if you start trying to publicly do something for your people, that just puts an extra target on your back. So again, I would never say a black man can't be productive, but your level of production will be tested in America at every step of the way, especially if they find out you're trying to help another black man. Honestly, that's about the worst thing you can do in America is to be known for helping another black man. You know, that IRS showing up at Robert Smith Doe was not a coincidence. He made a public statement. He got a public response. Well, we finna get all up in your stuff and we're going to see what's really going on. And we're going to find everywhere we can to shut down this and shut down that. We know you owe us some money. We ain't know it till you made that statement about paying off these college tuitions, or these college loans, I should say. We ain't know you owe us money till you said that, but now that you said that, now you owe us. So, it is what it is. My thing is black men should just understand being productive just simply comes at a cost. And right now we are not going to be able to get away from the cost, so just deal with it and just keep going.
Well, we've been doing that since slavery. What's new?
Absolutely. But
What's new?
but we got a lot less males behind us now because unfortunately you got men that's raised by women, and sometimes it take a while for them to even kind of get in tune for real. So we do have new challenges in that regard. Cause see, back in the day, they'll just tell you, man, you work twice as hard to get half as much. Now they ain't say that because they wanted that to be the situation. They said it because they knew that's generally how the situation was gonna go. You go out there and you work twice as hard just so you can get half as much. And people say, well, this is the climate I live in. This is what we got to do for now. But when you got men that's raised by women, they rather you just sit there and complain and do nothing. They rather you complain rather than actually doing something about your situation. So it
Right.
takes some men a while to figure out acting like a woman don't work for you. It's a shame men got to go through that, but it is a real thing. Okay. And shout out to Elder Blood. He said, Roger, can y'all discuss the last comment? This BS too real. Okay, we got you, brother. Got you. Got to see what you're talking about. I got you, brother. Yeah. Now, being productive, sure, you can do that. You can make that happen for yourself. You start helping other brothers. Let's keep it real, y'all. There's a lot of people who had problems come up because it was found out that they was helping other brothers. And there's ways to do that ain't gonna necessarily hit no newspaper or no news story. You work at a company, you get into some type of management position, you start hiring a bunch of brothers. It's people to get fired for stuff like that. I don't know if y'all know, okay, but there's brothers who got in management. They put in the work, became a manager. See, they didn't have a problem with another black man having a job, so they hired some. Other people took notice of that, so they got rid of him. Now you got the next black man. Even if you get the next black man to actually get that position, because you replace the guy who hired the other black man, what does he know? I can't hire these niggas, man. They consider niggas. Hey, I love you. I appreciate you. I can't give you no job, though. That's a real thing. Your own nephew coming to you, hey,
So what do we do? What do we
I'm
do?
looking for work.
Live in fear?
No, I'm
So what
not
do we do?
saying
Live in
that.
perpetual fear?
No, I don't think you should never be in fear. I'm just saying there is a reality of this stuff going on. And as I said in the beginning, black men just find another way. That's what you do. There's always another
Right.
way. It's just gonna be tough, and we're gonna have to accept that tough ways is just the way of this society. Which something I've said before, because people say, things are hard. I say, we adults, ain't we supposed to do the hard stuff? Now we can do the hard stuff or get nothing
Right.
done. Well, if that's my choices, I'm just gonna do the hard stuff. Now, shout out to Elder Blood. He said, Roger, this excuse me, Roger, this is the black man situation. He is a king, built his kingdom. He marries a black woman who gets mad at him. Now he must divide all of his riches and to be exiled from his kingdom. I'm gonna say there's far too many black men who do deal with this, and I'm actually gonna deal with a stream very soon about these types of situations. I'll say that, I was thinking, I got a plan. Great Black Reset know about it, but don't say nothing. But we got a plan that we're gonna introduce
I don't know what you're talking about.
to deal with some of this stuff. we just gonna throw something out there, y'all. We're gonna throw something out there about how black men may have to start making certain changes openly and honestly, so we can deal with things like that. Because at the end of the day, y'all, that is how America is designed. Every person was supposed to be able to go out and have their own kingdom and rule over your own kingdom. But because of certain rules that have been introduced since then, if you're a black man and you get a kingdom, say your home, there's a lot of things out here to extract that home from you. And it's so bad that I honestly, even myself, I've thought about it. Like if I got married and then got divorced, I just let her have the house if they just let me walk away. Look, you just take the house. Can I just walk away? Because if I can just walk away and not have to worry about her no more, she can just have the whole thing. I'll get another house. Now, should a black man have to
We
think in
can't keep
those
starting
particular
over like that.
terms? No. I'm not saying we should, but I'm saying that's a very real thing though. That was something I've literally considered. I don't know when, but I remember years ago I was thinking about that. Like, man, I just gonna give it a house rather than deal with all this stuff that men got to go through after getting a divorce or during a divorce proceeding. But at the end of the day,
Right.
that's something that keeps our production down. You know, there's a bunch of penalties that black men have to pay that's going to keep our production down.
Uh,
And this
I agree.
society likes it that way. You know, that's all it is. This society likes it that way. Now, I already got to deal with the fact that now, see, I don't know what y'all have experienced. I've gotten a job and I've gotten fired because I was black. Okay, I told y'all before I worked at a factory. Well, no, if I told you the company name, big, very big company. Walked into the factory, but I was young. Think I was maybe around somewhere around the 20 to 22 range. Yeah, because I had so many jobs. It was somewhere in that 20 to 22 range, I believe. And when I was in this factory, all these people I saw in this factory, and there was no other young black men there. I saw two other young black men who got hired in the same group I got hired in. And when they hired us, they told us straight up, we're going to keep some of y'all. If you make it to your 30th day, you in the union and you really one of us. But a lot of y'all will be let go on day 29. And that's how we going to pick our people. Now I did all kinds of stuff. I know I was shining through that process. Because for me, that was real good money. I was happy. This was when $10 an hour used to mean something. And they started me with more than $10 an hour. So I know I was good. I did any assignment they asked me to do without a problem. And the work was super easy, if you ask me. The work was super easy. So I was doing whatever. But come day 29, did nobody care I made all that extra effort? Nobody cared. You okay? Man, we put him on all these different tasks. He shined on all of them. Then nobody cared on day 29. Real talk. Now, I kind of knew what was up because, like I said, I only found two other brothers that was young like I was. But they both got hired in the same group with me. Every brother I looked at, I swear had to be at least 35 and up. Possibly in their 40s. But every brother I seen had to be at least 35. So I was like, oh, ain't no young black men in this joint. Other people could be there at any age. The black women could be any age. The white folks could be any age. The Asian people could be any age. Brother, and I was looking because this was a big factory, y'all. I was definitely looking, and I was looking at shift change too, like the people I'm replacing. Because when you go there, you see people coming out. I couldn't find no young brothers coming out, and when it was time for me to leave, I couldn't see no young brothers coming in. I was like, this ain't good. you know. This is not a good sign. This is not a good sign. And then people will say, well, see, you can't think that about
You
yourself.
supposed to be working, man. You
Man,
supposed to be working. You in there researching the situation.
bro, I took it for what it was, man. When I couldn't find no young brothers, I was like, I got 29 good days. I'm finna get paid for these 29 days. Now, that was not me feeling defeated. That was me accepting what my reality probably was. When I couldn't find no other young brothers, I was like, I probably got 29 days here. But I'm going to try to shine in these 29 days so much they'll consider keeping me. But it just didn't work out like that. And since they was paying what's considered good money, it ain't like they had a shortage of people that wasn't young brothers who wanted that job. There wasn't no shortage of people trying to get the job. So we was out. Okay. The other two young brothers, I'm assuming they got out too. you know. But that's just me peeping what the scene is. You know, I kept looking for a job
Right.
during that time too. I didn't stop looking for no job now. Cause I was like, I got 29 days here. I'm gonna take the money while I can. But I need something else. And that's just real talk. Now, luckily for me, because I was already looking for another job, I think when I left that job, it didn't take me that much longer to get something else. Because that was another 29 days of you might as well keep looking. Ain't no point in stopping right now. You might as well keep looking. But that's paying the price, even though I'm trying to be productive. Well, I ain't got the right skin color for it. It is what it is. Now, that don't mean I feel defeated. No, I keep going. I keep looking. But these are realities for us as black men. So it ain't just about what a woman's doing. It's a whole society that's against me. I just understand the whole society is against me. I accept that's what the reality is. I'll do what I can to change that before I die. But that is my reality at the end of the day. And I think a lot of black men, we feel some type of way when somebody understands their reality because they say, "Oh no, you having a defeatist mindset." No, I never said they're gonna beat me. I just recognize what the game is, and I think the easiest way to win the game is to understand the rules of the game. Now, you possibly can win without knowing what the rules are, but it's a lot easier to win when you know what the rules are. Was you about to say something?
No, I just think that the way that we approach life today, and especially with dating and marriage, because that's important to how we move about the earth, bro. I think we should have the same attitude you had there. Like, understand what the rules are, and like you said, not having a defeatist mentality. Just understand. Okay, these are the rules. Now, what kind of policies or what kind of behaviors can I put in place for myself that's going to allow me to be successful within the confinement of these rules? And I think that's just how black men need to move. We're not victims. We're going through this struggle that this country has given us from the time we got here. From the very moment we got here, everything was set against us, but we find a way to succeed. And we have to lean on that ability to find a way to succeed. Winners find a way to win, man. That's a bottom line, bro. Just like y'all beloved Michael Jordan. Hey, just give him the ball. He gonna find a way to win. And that's how black men need to approach life. Man, just give me the ball. I'm gonna find a way to win. And that's what we gotta do.
Honestly, that's why I think, one of the reasons I think black men are the greatest men walking around, because we've been dealing with a country that's been dead set against us since before the foundation of this country, and we've been finding ways to win regardless.
Correct.
You got to be great to do that. You can't deal with a whole country being against you and still find ways to win, and you're not great. Unfortunately, I just think because you don't have family dynamics in place, young men aren't reminded how great black men are on a regular basis. That's what I believe the real shame is.
Right.
Black men are great. We're just not reminded of how great black men are because you didn't get to grow up with your dad. And it's hard to see black men as trash when you are raised by your father.
Hey, Roger, my Latina, she said I'm great.
I would say, brother, you ain't no good, but I ain't gonna say that. I ain't gonna say that because it should have been a black woman saying that. But they
You're
wanted
right.
the
You're
Latino
right.
woman to say it. That's what they wanted. So, we do. And see, when black men accept that the reason some other man who happens to be black is with a non-black woman, once we accept that's because black women chose to be failures toward us, we're gonna be much better off. Just like I said to the gentleman in the comment section, about the pro black thing. You can't be pro-black woman and be pro-black community at the same time. Women aren't interested in taking care of men. Now, if they were, that would be different. See, men don't mind taking care of women, but women, they have no interest in that. Okay, I talk to young ladies about that, and I say, hey, y'all talking all this stuff, but let me ask you this: are you willing to take care of a man? And they instantly say no. Well, if you're not willing to take care of a man, at the end of the day, the stuff that you think matters don't mean anything. Because who cares about what job you got? You're not trying to take care of no man. Why is your job important? You know, and they look and they stare a little bit, and I'm like, yeah, it's not important. Who cares what you make? Are you trying to make money and give it to your man? No. I make money so I can spend it on myself. Okay, cool. So why would you think a man's supposed to be impressed because you got a job? Don't make sense.
That's the strategy. That's the strategy of driving you into poverty. It's just like the ultimate form of selfishness, and it's on display everywhere you look now. And so they're displaying their selfishness wide open, and they dare you to not accept it.
Mm-hmm. And if you tell a sister you want to start a business, why would she have any type of hesitation to try to talk you out of it? And I found that to be one of the greatest struggles black men deal with. A man say he want to start a business, and his own wife is the main person trying to tell him don't do. Well, what about
I
this and
experienced
what
that
about that?
personally. Yep, I experienced that personally. Well, they do not want to fulfill their God given role, which is to be helpmates, which is to be the support to the husband. They don't want they just don't want to do it. And I ain't trying to make them do it. I'm just gonna go get the woman that will. That's it. Just as simple.
And my
Negative,
thing is,
negative Nellies, negative. They're just negative from the get go to the end. Just negative. All men cheat ain't no man good. All this negativity, and when you find somebody who can be positive and love you and say you know, and wish good things on you, that makes you do better. It just motivates you.
Right.
absolutely, absolutely. And see, this is where women will spend a lot of men, y'all. Now, I said what I said. Queen of Detroit said, would you want a woman to take care of you? Really? Now, that ain't got nothing to do with what I said. But she'll rather, see, she's just doing what women do. She'd rather argue nonsense than deal with what actually was said. Why do you have a job if you ain't trying to take care of nobody? Now, I'm not saying you don't have a right to be selfish. This America, you can be as selfish as you want, but to think that I'm not supposed to acknowledge it is stupid. You know, but I just wanted y'all to see how quickly that came, which shows you what the natural reaction to a man saying something like that is, I got to spin it in a different direction. Because as a black man, and it ain't personal to me. It's no big deal to me. I just say it ain't no big deal to me. I get she see me as a nigga at the end of the day, so she would say something like that immediately in response because she see me as a nigga. To her, I'm just a nigga talk. That's why she would say something like that. You know, what I said should not really be thought about. What I said should not really be considered. I'm just a nigga talking to her. You know, but I've told y'all time and time again, I don't even understand why you even listen to women on a for real level. Now, I will listen to women so I can see the information that's floating around in their head, but listen to women for direction, I ain't really too quick to do that. Because I understand they're going to
Right.
think in these type of terms. You know, you're not trying to build anything with me, but you want me to sign up to make sure you straight. That don't even make sense to me. Well, you supposed to be a man. Exactly. A man does what he wants to do. Ain't that the first part about being a man? I don't want to do that for you. I don't like you like that. Well, I want to be responsible for you, but I can't tell you nothing. I don't like you like that. That's the way it goes for me. If you put your money in something, you're supposed to like what you're putting your money into, or you're supposed to believe it's truly necessary. So yeah, paying the bill, I get. I pay a bill because I get something for paying the bill. Every bill I pay, I get some product or service for. I won't pay for a woman that I can't get nothing out of. And women will say, that's y'all problem. You think just because you spend spend money on a woman, you supposed to get something out of it. Yeah, that's what I do. Yeah, that's exactly what I think.
100%. 100%.
You know, y'all will let women, well, I ain't going to say y'all, but whoever it applies to, you will let a woman shame you for wanting something out of the deal. That makes no sense to me whatsoever. And I carry that same energy all over society. I said plenty of times, I work for just about anybody, as long as you're willing to pay. You want to tell Roger what to do? You can. Let's talk money. Hey, this show right now, purchased by my main man, 414 Money. This is his subject matter. But Roger willing to talk about it because he was willing to pay. You know?
Right.
It is what it is for me. Okay, I'm not as sensitive as some of y'all, I guess. You know, stuff that bothers other people don't necessarily bother me. I know when I die, I need to have a life behind me that I'm comfortable with, not what society tells me I'm supposed to be comfortable with. So I can't live that way, where I'm trying to make sure when I die, society will approve. I don't care what society truly think. I really don't care. You know, what I do care is about what I think. You know, and if you ain't trying to be on my team, it's hard to really include you in my way of thinking. You know.
Well, I think if the overall question is, can a black man be successful in America? Of course we can. But like you've been saying all show, there's a cost to it because how America's set up is for us to not be successful, at least in their own measurement. And anytime you find success, you're going to have to quote unquote break social rules. So the question is, after you weigh it out for yourself personally, are you willing to do what it takes to be successful? Are you willing to pay that cost to be successful? Because it's gonna come at a cost. It's gonna come at the cost of your family members that are telling you can't do it. If you're married, your wife is gonna tell you can't do it. Everybody's gonna tell you can't do it, but you and the people that believe in your vision.
Mm-hmm.
Are you willing to pay that cost? Are you willing to alienate the people in your life that don't agree with your vision?
Yeah, because there will be people, and sometimes you're gonna have a lot of love for these people, and they're gonna be mad at you for becoming successful. Because people can take you being successful only so much, and if you really
Yep.
try to get more, you might start getting to a point where you make somebody you quote unquote know and love a little bit too uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
So
I
that's
want to say this.
Right.
Go ahead.
So first of all, like I said in the beginning, when it comes to individually, yeah, you know, but when it comes to freeing your people, then no, black men are not going to be allowed to free their people to be able to compete wildly on a scale with whites. It's never going to happen in America.
Well, I will say this. I'm never going to want to truly believe it won't happen in America. I think if that could happen, that's a long way from now. I said that's extremely long way from now. But I do agree with your sentiment. You know, America as a whole ain't really finna let us compete with them on a fair level. You know, we'll never have true free market value in this particular country.
And it's always our own people, right? Tunnel runner, reset, Bronx, always stabbing niggas in the back. Own people, man.
Well, you know what? Let's deal with that as a reality. There will be your own people in scenarios because a lot of black people ain't really caught the concept that we're all taught to be white supremacists. It's just what are you willing to do to get past your personal teaching on how to be a white supremacist? Because it ain't like it wasn't taught to me. I just thank God I had some parents that was giving me some more information to say, no, you got to have competing thought. This ain't the only way. But everybody who grew up in this country was taught to be a white supremacist. It's just how much teaching did you get and how effective it was. Because if you went to any kind of public school, you definitely got taught to be a white supremacist. If you watched American television, you definitely got taught to be a white supremacist. And if you went to American film, you was definitely taught to be a white supremacist. It just is what it is on that note. Bronco, I see you, my brother. He said drop the link. Now, I could have sworn I had a pinned link down there, but I'm gonna do it
Don't worry
again.
about it, Roger. Don't worry about it, Roger.
Don't.
That's,
Now, I mean, he may have something going on where he can't see it. Things happen, crazy stuff happens. So I'm gonna look out for him. I'm gonna look out. I ain't gonna do you like that, Bronco. I ain't gonna do you like that. I got you, my brother. Give me 1 second. I'm about to drop it now.
take your time, Roger. Take your time, Roger. Take your time. No rush.
All right, Bronco, you got the flow next. Just because he said that. If you come on, I just dropped it again for you,
And,
brother.
ain't nobody come here and listen to you, Otis.
Uh-oh. We got somebody else in. We got Pookie Raw in the building. Pookie Raw is in the building. So he got next. Pookie Raw, you got it, my brother. And then we can get Bronco after him.
Pookie Raw in the house. How y'all doing tonight?
Doing well, brother.
Peace, y'all. I do agree with the sentiment that yes, black men can become successful. And damn, what's your name today? Nut Milk. Like Nut Milk said, the only problem is saving you if you're going to try and save your people or free the people. My thing is, your people are already free. So what do you say? Like, how are you freeing them? I think the thing is, if you're not going to play the game that these people play, you're not going to be successful to a certain extent. You know what I mean? Especially if you want to be. And when I think of success, I think of Robert Smith, right? The average person wouldn't call him successful because he's not famous. I think you could be Robert Smith as long as you keep your head down and do what you do. Mind your business. Don't be out there stirring up pots and stuff like that. But when you want to be famous, it's a game that you got to play. And you got to adhere to that game because the famous person holds more, in America, the famous person holds more power than the successful person. You know, understand what I'm saying? So we can definitely do what we got to do and do what we want to do, but it depends on what party you want to be in. You want to be rich and successful? I mean, you want to be successful and famous, or you want to just be successful? They'll let you be successful. They definitely will. But just you can't be a person who's gonna have some kind of influence. And as far as save the people, you setting yourself up for a downfall by doing that. This ain't 1960. These people don't want to be saved. The people that helped us get free and get the rights we got, look what they did. Look what we did to them. Look how we treated them. Look how we treat them now. And I ended on that. Get your money, Pookie Raw. I'm out.
All right, Bronc, you got it, my brother. You got it.
That nigga
What up,
doing
Roger? What up, chat?
This is a perfect. This is a
What
perfect
up,
example of
Kel?
black men not being able to work together. Because if we work together like we supposed to, he wouldn't even be up here to talk. He wouldn't even be up here.
Exactly.
reset,
Cool,
reset,
man.
reset. If you ain't heard this before, man, you ain't shit, nigga. You ain't shit.
New information. New information.
But man, I said earlier, like, black men in this country can really only get as far as the ceiling of white supremacy allow us to go. Um, that doesn't mean we can't be successful. It just means we didn't make the rules here, right? So our success is going to be determined by our ability to play within the rules that they set for us. Because once we start to operate outside of those rules, you see what happens to us, and it's happened to us throughout the course of American history, right? They try to take you out, right? So yes, we can go out here and make all the money that we want to make. We can go out here and make all the differences that we want to make within the spaces that they allow us to do that in, right? But when we try to change the system itself, it's over. So for us and over for anybody else who tries to come after them and try to do the same thing, right? So, I mean, my father, for instance, came from a small town in Arkansas, grew up in the Jim Crow South, moved here to St. Louis, started a shop with my uncles and my aunt, and has been running that shop for over 30 years. I'll tell you, he's a pretty successful man, right? But my dad also didn't go walking into the woods without a flashlight, and no black man should. We got to take that flashlight with us when we're walking throughout the woods, so that when we come out on the other side of that woods, we didn't run into all those trees. Those trees being symbolic of white supremacy itself. So we have to know what we're up against. Again, that doesn't mean that we can't be successful, but we at least have to go into that wood with into those woods with a flashlight, knowing what we're up against. It's gonna make the journey a lot more smoother for us. I'm laying my plane there.
You know what you sound like, Bronk? You know what you sound like?
What?
A victim. That's what you sound like.
That's a good one.
Now, I'm saying that because that's the way a lot of black men are trained to think. If you actually recognize the traps or things that were set forth, then somehow you're a victim. It's extremely dumb. But
hey, I hear you.
They do that though. They do that though. And my thing is, you can't be a victim for knowing where the traps are. And if you be realistic, if you know what traps are, you will probably be a victim a lot less.
Walk through the woods without a flashlight, and when you come out on the end, tell me how many trees you ran into.
He's not saying that, bro. He's just talking about your addiction and how a white man got played you, right? Because we all know you like to cross dress. And that
Well, he owned it today, boy. He owned it today.
I'm telling you, boy. I'm telling you. Not cross dressing though. That's wild.
Yeah, there's some inside jokes going on that some of y'all just ain't privy to. Okay, some of y'all ain't privy to. Sometimes you had to be at a particular show to even know what's going on. If you missed it, you missed it. Okay, we ain't doing no recap. You missed it, you missed it. All right, but I am gonna say, real talk. There is a. I never want black men to ever believe that you truly can't make it. They will allow you to make it to a certain degree, but if you're trying to help other black men, that will come at a cost. So the question is it worth it to you to help another black man? You're going to pay a tax on that. Now, some of us are more comfortable with paying a tax than other people. Me doing this show, I understand I'm going to pay a tax for doing this type of show. It is what it is, y'all. I would estimate a channel per year, y'all. I'm gonna go through a channel per year. Yeah. Now, hopefully, that's not gonna happen anymore. Just like I said, hopefully, it won't happen again the last time. But look like we about to do it again. Okay.
But Roger, I think you can do it. Like I never heard of Robert until he did that Morehouse thing. And now my question is, did he make that public himself? Did he have a publicist, or a PR person help move this to where it was at? Because he could have just did this quietly.
Well, honestly, I hadn't heard of Robert Smith until he made that move either. You know what I'm saying? I had no clue who he was. But he did announce it during the graduation. That was public enough for the news to pick up on it. Once they picked up on it, they ain't gonna let that slide.
But I'm like,
the first time I heard of Robert Smith, I thought he was the former Pro Bowl running back of the Minnesota Vikings. Like, who is this? $1 billion.
Yeah, so you keep your business quiet and you can do whatever you want to do in America. Nobody got to know what you're doing.
Well, but I'm gonna say that's part of the game too, because they want, if you are in position to help other people, they want you to be quiet about helping other people, so you never inspire anybody else to help other people. So it is part of the game, and we will suffer in some ways for that. Helping is good. I'm not gonna say helping is good. It's just helping publicly helps more, but you got to pay a personal price to get the extra help.
But
So
helping people publicly. No, because I didn't get no money from him helping them guys at Morehouse. Only them people at Morehouse benefited. So helping publicly don't help nothing. If a person needs to be inspired to be a good person, they ain't a good person.
No, what I'm saying is, when you do stuff publicly, you will inspire others to also do more things. So, from an overall concept, it's going to help us more when it's done publicly. If it's not done publicly, you're not going to inspire the other people, which means less help will come. Which is exactly why they just don't want you to make a public spectacle of it. And maybe he didn't even mean to, but at the end of the day, when you do it at a graduation ceremony for a place like Morehouse, well, the news picked it up. And once the news picked it up, it kind of went where it went. And now he got out of it because it got to where it got to. That's the price of helping. And you letting it get out. But my thing is it worth it to you as a black man to help publicly? That's the real question.
so my answer to that question, I would say, look at Bill Cosby, and I'll say hell to the law. As much as Bill Cosby has done openly and publicly since 1970s for black people, black women, and how we did that, man, at the end was just that was shame on us. Real talk, shame on us. How we did that, man, at the end. So no.
And to me, that's a very real thing. And I felt bad for him because people had talked to me about Bill Cosby, and I was literally telling people, Bill Cosby might be the first one to make it. He might actually die. Not that I wanted him to die anytime quicker or sooner. I was like, Bill Cosby might actually die with a clean record. I did actually say that for a little while. I was like, yeah, he kind of getting up there in years. We might have the first black man to die with a clean record who done got out here, did some stuff, and made some money. Boy, was I wrong. That's all I can say on that one. Boy, was I wrong. Not only is he going to die without having the quote-unquote clean record, even though his record is truly clean, but they did enough to him publicly where we will not perceive him as having a clean record. Okay? So he might be the first one to technically die with a clean record, even though it really ain't clean. But it is clean because he didn't do nothing wrong. But history gonna tell a different story. And I'm pretty sure history gonna tell a story that's convenient for them at the time. If they're trying to convince somebody else they not gonna do you dirty, they'll probably bring up Bill Cosby without telling you the context of what actually happened before he died and how he ended up getting sued and lost a bunch of money. Because let's remind folks, Bill got to pay about $40 million out already. And they probably gonna come at him for some more money before he goes. 9 times out of 10. And you wait until the man ain't really in good health to even deal with this type of stuff. So this got to be extremely hard on him. To y'all imagine being an old person, you kind of set in the ways you're doing because Bill is like 83, 84 at this particular point. What are you going to do when people start suing you and you already in your 80s? The easiest thing to do is just to settle. But if you got too many people to settle with, it ain't going to work out. So I think they're trying to kill him, real talk. I think they're going to try to put him in so much litigation that he'll just die a little bit earlier than what he would have normally did. They'll make more concerns for him that he thought he already kind of took care of. Like, is his wife going to be okay? How many years would she be around and be having to deal with X, Y, and Z? Now, a person in Bill Cosby's position, you already know he got his wife taken care of. But when you start suing and getting $40 million at a chunk, well, now you got to rethink about what's going to happen after you go. This is a way to cause him a lot of extra stress, so he'll die just a little bit earlier. That's what I believe is going on. So I'm not going to be shocked about the next lawsuit. I'm not going to be shocked about the next big payout that he'll have to deal with. Now, to my understanding, he's appealing this $40 million payout that he got already. And matter of fact, as I'm thinking about it, I think the total might be around 59 million because I think he had to pay something else beside the 40 million. The 40 million was just punitive or something, if my memory is correct. So they really try to mess his world up. But that's the price you pay for helping out your fellow black man. So that's why I say you really got to think about it. Is it going to be worth it to you on a personal standpoint? That's what I mean. Are you willing to pay that personal cost? So that cost is going to be there. Yeah.
I think as black men, we got to be willing to pay the cost to be successful as a whole, as a people. Because, like I said, it's always been there, it's always going to be there, and we're always going to have to pay it. And I think we're just going to have to be willing to pay it as just part of the way we live our life. What's the alternative?
Yeah. We're going to have to understand we're in a new version of work twice as hard to get half as much.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, we just got to learn how to protect ourselves legally from some of these ramifications. We got to learn from what our elders are going through.
I don't even know if we'll be able to truly be able to do that. I think the more we protect ourselves in certain ways, they'll just keep changing rules. That's why I think we just gonna have to accept that at least for a good period of time, we just gonna have to deal with these problems. And I want to say, you got to think: is it worth it to help the next man? Somebody in the future. Is it worth it to you to pay whatever your personal price gonna be? And I'm gonna be very real with it. Sometimes your personal price will include that. Just like the gentleman who was really pushing for the Black Lives Matter movement, not the organization, the Black Lives Matter movement. Because some of them start paying with their lives. Now, as a group of men, can we accept that there will be some extra prices to pay so we can continue to push our people forward? Because you can do it quietly. I'm not going to be mad at nobody who do stuff quietly. But that influence of that you can instill in other people by being public, to me, that's kind of worth it. We need black men to be seen pushing black people forward. Because what do we get if we don't have black men being seen as pushing black people forward? We gonna get the same old lives we've been getting. We gonna be hearing stuff like black women are the black backbone of the community. If you are not willing to pay that personal price, that's what you basically asking for, whether you know it or not. They already talking about the men was marching with us. I heard people saying that. Not that the men marched, the women marched, and it was some men that happened to be with them. Y'all see how stories can change over time?
Interesting.
The history of the phone game right there. The men didn't march, the women marched, and some men happened to march with them. That's crazy.
That's interesting.
Yeah. But see, that's to be applied for a march that actually meant something. Because now women have marched with stuff that don't matter. They did march for the Black Lives Matter organization. They didn't march for the Black Lives Matter movement. See, my thing is we got to have our imprint out there so people really know what time it is. And if you don't, they going to tell you what time it is. They already trying to tell us what time it was with a false narrative. I don't think that's the right way to go.
Well, they've been lying for years about all kinds of stuff. Why are we surprised about this one?
Nah, I ain't gonna say I'm surprised.
They've been the most educated forever,
According to them.
as far as
Only
that.
according to
Right.
them.
They don't start the most businesses, according to them. Like they've been lying about this stuff forever. So I don't get it. Like, why are we even surprised that they're lying about this thing here? Or, you know, what kind of effect do we think this lie is going to have that's greater than any other effect of any other lie that they had? Man, that's why I don't even listen to women. To be honest with
And that's why I think you're gonna have to have that people willing to make a public marker. Because if black men don't make a public marker, the narrative will be controlled by white supremacy.
you. Mm-hmm.
And I understand that's asking brothers to do a lot. I'm not asking you to do it if you ain't really comfortable accepting what come with it. I'm just saying for the people who are really accepting what come with it, if you're willing to pay that person price, hey, just do it and keep going. You know, I'm paying my personal price through the social media
Yeah.
situation because they playing with my money. You know, I ain't tripping about it though. I'm gonna keep pushing.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, it's gonna
Yep.
be worth it.
Yep.
Go ahead, Bronson. You trying to say something?
No, I was just gonna say, man, I second it for real. Like, if you want to make an impact in any field or industry for a black man, you typically gonna have to do it yourself, and that's going to be a brutal experience, very brutal experience. I'm actually dealing with that now. Just rebuilding my financial firm independently of you know their business structure and the way that they do business, right? And I mean, yeah, it's possible. It's possible, but it's definitely going to be an uphill battle wherever you go. Like even reset, if you were to go just independently in logistics, how hard would that process be for you? Getting contracts with the different
Yep.
franchise brokers or freight
Yeah,
brokers.
it'd be tough. It will be a restart, but it's possible.
Yeah, it's possible, right?
It's possible,
Mm-hmm.
and in the
Just
end,
harder.
it'll be worth it. You know,
Yep.
like we cannot be afraid of the pains of growth, man. We can't. We can't be afraid of what happened in the past. We have to learn from it, make our plans accordingly, and go forward. And some of us will be martyred. Some of us, whether it's literally or whether it's a literal martyr or whether it's figuratively, some of us will be martyred. But damn it, you got to keep going, man. You can't quit. You just can't quit. I don't care who the enemy is, man.
Yeah.
Roll over for the enemy and keep going, man. I'm sorry, you were saying something. I don't started ranting. My bad.
No, I was so. But here's the thing that I'll run into with people who claim to be about that life. One, when it gets hard for them, you really find out really quickly they're not really about it, and then they go backwards to where they were comfortable at before they even went on that mission. Two, some people just sell out once they get enough money, man, and I think that's the bigger problem oftentimes because people are trying to essentially just make money versus actually building infrastructure that gives our young boys a chance, in the next generation and generations ahead. It's almost like once they get comfortable with the amount of money they make,
Mhm.
every other plan to build out infrastructure to make it possible for the next generation goes out the window.
Yeah, and
So
shout
we
out
got to
to
find a healthy balance. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah,
Agreed.
shout out to Reparation Nation. See, this is how people need to think more along what he's saying right here. He said black males getting bad press in a white supremacist media is not evidence of failure from a black perspective. Now, see, that's hitting the nail on the head right there. That's hitting the nail on the head. You know, if you leave it up to them to tell us how we doing, you will always get a bad report. You know, that's kind of what I was trying to show. Was it either yesterday or the day before too? When you leave it up to them to tell you your story, the report gonna be bad. You know, you ain't even supposed to be looking for a good report when you're asking the wrong people. You know, that's not even supposed to be a real thing. So we got to make sure that we set our own standards, we measure our own progress, and not pay attention to what anybody else has to say about our progress. You know, and because we are now in this information age, if you want to know what's real, go look it up yourself. Don't depend on everybody else to give you the numbers. You got to be willing to look at stuff for yourself, just like I did either yesterday, day before, when I pulled up how many black men were actually in prison, and at the most right now is 400,000. But people ain't gonna tell you that. They're gonna say, half y'all in prison. Ain't nowhere close to it.
Yep.
You know, you niggas stay in prison. You know how many millions of black men in this country? And we well from 50%. We well from 20%. You know, um, I got to look at the numbers again to see how many black men there are right now. But again, y'all, you got less
It's like
than half
it's
a
closer to
million in
one.
there.
It's closer to 1%.
Exactly. But you let them tell it. It's about 75% of us in there. You let them. That's the power you give away when you allow other people to give you your numbers. Look it up. We in the information age. Look up something for yourself. It's a necessary thing at this point. You know. And y'all will catch me doing a lot of that. I mean, even in the future, I did in the past, but I done lost channels. But in the future, I'm gonna keep on doing it. Let's look it up right now and see what it's showing today. You know, you don't have to use a bunch of old numbers all the time. What it look like today, okay? And the reason I'm comfortable doing that because I already know the news is gonna be good. I'm not concerned with what today gonna look like when you talk about black men making stuff happen. I ain't concerned with coming up with a bad stat. I think the stat gonna be pretty good just about every time. And that's real talk. I got confidence in my people because they done put the work in for me to have the confidence. It ain't just because they black. No, they put the work in for me to have the confidence. And because we're in the information age, to me, we're just gonna automatically look better because people can't cheat us out of something where they used to as much. I'm not saying they ain't gonna cheat with numbers and stuff here and there, but you're not gonna be able to do it as much as you used to because there's too many people watching you now. I ain't saying that the desire ain't there. It's just too many people watching them now. And you can go count some stuff and verify stuff for yourself. I tell you, I do my own personal surveys. You should do something for yourself sometime so you can get a better idea of what's really going on in the world. Yeah. So yeah, a black man being productive, yeah, that's gonna work. It's gonna be cool. The issue is when you try to have a group of black men being productive that's truly really gonna start to set in. Okay. And shout out to Trail Bentley. Like he gave an important point that a lot of people, because this is why I said we get caught up in presentation instead of the information. He said, Roger, even at the height of mass incarceration, we never exceeded 5%. Now that's the height of it. We never exceeded 5%. But what was the narrative about black men in prison? Half you niggas in prison.
Correct.
I can't even tell you how many times I heard half you niggas in prison anyway. That was a regular thing being said. Half you niggas in prison anyway. And we ain't never exceeded 5%.
Yep. I think an important part of the narrative that needs to be pushed forth is that white men, since the abolishment of slavery, did not want to compete with the progress and the prowess of black men in the open job market. And all the way up until today's date, this is why white men always claimed that black men were lazy. They were trying to put something forth that wasn't true because we've always outproduced them. We've always outworked them, even in hours and productivity. And that still exists today. Man, and I say that to say this. Don't be afraid to go out there and make a success of yourself. Don't be afraid to go out there and push through whatever stands in front of you. Because the greatness that came through our ancestral line still exists, man. If you just do what you're supposed to do, you study what you're supposed to study, and you go out and be great in the thing that you studied, man, ain't nothing gonna get in your way. Nothing's going to stop you. I don't care what they put in front of you. You will be successful. The only failure is never to try. That's the only way you fail.
Yeah, and you never know where you can get if you actually try. It's not like brothers ain't exceeded expectations before. That's a real thing. Okay, so you know, yeah, there's going to be people against you. That's gonna happen. That's just being real. But so far as they are, again, y'all, I'm gonna tell you like a rich man told me. He said you can have rich people problems or you can have poor people problems. Which one you want? Because you're gonna
You
have
go.
problems. You know. Now, me personally, I've been trying to figure out this rich people problem thing ever since he said. You know, I say that make too much sense. That make way too much sense. So, heck, if I got to deal with problems, no matter what level I am, I'd rather deal with it at the rich level. You know, and I went to work. You know, and I'm not saying everything worked and everything's great, but y'all remember, you only got to have one good idea to truly make it. You have one thing that works for you, and your life can change. You know, you just got to find that one thing that's gonna work for you. And even if you ain't a believer, I'm gonna tell you right now, God gave all y'all something. You just got to figure out what it is. But all of us got something.
That's right.
So I would encourage you to look for it. All right. The quicker you start looking, the quicker you'll find it. You know.
And Roger, I once heard this guy say he got 99 problems, but ain't one.
Hey man, sometimes you got to find the right attitude wherever you can find it. And you got to say to yourself, if she can make a problem for you, maybe I need to do something different. Because I don't want people to go too King Kong on stuff, but I am going to suggest if she can make a problem for you, maybe you need a replacement. It may hurt sometimes, maybe rough sometimes, but what's the best move you can make? And we got to really start thinking about what's good for us instead of so much of what's good for her. Because we do that way too much. What's good for her? Why are you so concerned with what's good for her? If I mean, number one, if it ain't your wife, it's not even really your concern. Yes, you can show somebody levels of support because that's how you get married in the first place. But my thing is pick your poison. Don't give away too much and don't have enough for yourself.
Yeah, and Roger, I put down a lot of times. I put down "Si se puede," as Black Reset was saying. Yes, we can. Like I say, it might be difficult, but yes, we can. "Si se puede" says that's saying the same thing in Spanish. Yes, we can. We can do it. We can do a lot of things that we can do it. But like I say, it might be difficult, but we can do it. It's possible.
Yeah. And my thing is, I just accept it will be difficult. Because they trying to win too. They ain't gonna let me just walk up and
Correct.
take it easy. I'm gonna take it, but I get they ain't gonna let me take it easy. So they don't make it. It's their job to make it difficult for me. I can't even be mad at that. I just gotta do what I gotta do for myself. You know. Uh, I know y'all may not know it, but it does take some type of effort to come up with different shows on a regular basis that I can do something where it can be educational, can be inspiring, you know, and enjoyable. Because the enjoyable part has to be there. No matter what I do, I got to somehow present it in a way that it's enjoyable to a mass group of people. That can be difficult to come up with sometimes. It can be. I ain't gonna say it is because I ain't gonna speak bad on myself or make things hard on myself. Talking about everything difficult. In my words, everything easy. That's what I'm gonna say. Everything easy because I want to stay coming easy. But y'all, it do take some work behind the scenes. I'm gonna just tell you, it do take some work behind the scenes. And I'm gonna say shout out to 414 Money for this particular subject, because this was a good, very good subject to take on, which I would want to say I came up with it myself, but hey, he came up with it. It is what it is. Great subject to take on, though. Definitely a great subject to take on. And I appreciate you, brother. Real talk. I appreciate you, brother. You know. So unless people got more, I guess I'm gonna close this up because people ain't really talking as much. And I do the 3-hour shows to make sure everybody gets a chance to get out what they want to say.
Hey,
So since
I will
people
say
been
this.
kind of hesitant, I'm gonna go
I
into
will.
closing statements.
All right.
Go ahead, bro. I'm gonna let you
I guess
go.
I'll start it off then. I'll start it
Go
off. Well,
ahead.
I would respond to something that Reset brought up just about how white men spread the propaganda that black men were lazy after slavery. I don't know if y'all know this, but the labor unions were actually started to keep black men out of jobs.
Well,
Literally, that's why they started labor unions in the U.S. And the guy who started was a guy by the name of I think it was Samuel Gompers. And he started the American Federation of Labor, I believe, AFL. But here's a quote from this guy in a 1913 interview that he did with the Seattle Star. Okay, this man said, and I quote, "While the white children are slaving in the mills, the black children are going to school. That is why I say that when the present generation of children in the cotton states of the South have grown to manhood and womanhood, and if the literacy test is applied to voters, the whites will be disenfranchised and the blacks alone will vote. The blacks will be the superior race." And I'm just going to leave my closing statement with that.
they couldn't let that happen. Definitely couldn't let that happen. Okay. Um, Nut Milk. You want to say anything before we go? Well, matter of fact, he's supposed to be last anyway. So Great Black Reset, you go ahead in front of him.
Hey man. I say, we can't live in fear of what what has been. We can't live in fear of what people say about us. We have to live in encouragement of what abilities that we have going forward. Yes, we can be successful, and we will be successful if we just have the determination to do so. And I'll end my plane there.
All right.
All right. That's me. That's my turn now.
You got it. You got it, my brother.
People all my life have told me what I can't do, and I have still done it. And he say, "Puede, we can do it. You can do it. You can do it. Don't let nobody tell you what you can't do. Protect yourself at all times. Peace."
All right. Shout out to every man picking up a second language. Okay. Shout out to every man picking up a second language. Real talk. Okay. Well, I guess that'll do it for us right there. Nut Milk, anything you want to say before we go? Okay. Well, Nut Milk going once,
In the
Nut
bathroom.
Milk going twice. Hey, we gonna close shop down, y'all. Shout out to everybody here. I'll see y'all tomorrow. I'll probably be coming with a new link for a new channel tomorrow, though. Okay, and we gonna quietly, and we gonna smoothly go over to the next one, y'all. We gonna smoothly. Now I'm gonna keep this channel so we can archive stuff. I'm gonna keep this particular channel, but they're gonna demonetize it, y'all. Just so y'all know. Or that's what their plan is, to demonetize it. So, we gonna make a move. We gonna make a move. Y'all have a great rest of y'all day. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Long live the habitual line steppers. I'm Roger. I'm right. And I'm out.